Tensions across the Middle East are rising rapidly as fighting between Israel and the Lebanese armed group Hezbollah escalates into what analysts warn could become a broader regional war. The latest round of attacks marks one of the most intense confrontations between the two sides in recent years, with missiles, drones, and airstrikes exchanged across the Israeli-Lebanese border and deeper into each other's territory. The developments come amid an already volatile regional environment shaped by the widening confrontation between Israel and Iran and the involvement of multiple Iranian-aligned groups across the region. Over the past several days, Hezbollah has launched repeated waves of rockets and drones toward Israel, while Israeli forces have responded with large-scale airstrikes targeting Hezbollah infrastructure in Lebanon, including areas in the southern suburbs of Beirut, widely considered strongholds of the group. The result is a rapidly escalating confrontation that threatens to transform Israel's northern front into a major battlefield. The latest escalation began when Hezbollah announced that it had carried out coordinated missile strikes against several Israeli military sites. The Iran-backed group said the attacks were aimed at strategic Israeli targets, including intelligence installations and military bases. In statements released through its official channels, Hezbollah claimed responsibility for a series of missile strikes targeting key Israeli facilities. Hezbollah says it launched missile strikes on several major Israeli military bases, including the Beit Lid base, the Gliat base near Tel Aviv, and the Atlet base close to Haifa. According to Hezbollah, the strikes were intended to target military installations and Israeli troops operating in the region. Some of the attacks reportedly involved drones and artillery fire targeting Israeli positions both within Israel and near the Lebanese border. Hezbollah also said it carried out a drone strike on a military site known as the Yara Barracks in northern Israel, which it described as an installation used by the Israeli Defense Forces. In another operation, the group claimed that rockets and drones were launched toward the northern Israeli coastal city of Nahariya, one of the largest population centers close to the Lebanese border. Hezbollah said these strikes were part of a broader campaign designed to hit Israeli military positions and disrupt operations along the northern front. Among the most sensitive targets claimed by Hezbollah was a major Israeli intelligence facility. The group said it had fired advanced missiles at the Gliat base near Tel Aviv. The base reportedly houses the headquarters of Israel's elite Unit 8200, the country's largest military intelligence division responsible for signals intelligence and cyber operations. Hezbollah described the strike as a major step in its ongoing operation against Israel. Hezbollah said it launched a barrage of advanced missiles targeting a key Israeli military intelligence base near Tel Aviv. According to the group, the operation was aimed at strategic monitoring and intelligence systems deep inside Israeli territory. However, Israeli authorities have disputed these claims and said that their bases were not seriously damaged. Hezbollah also claimed that it had successfully targeted another strategic facility. The group said one of its drones struck the Marin Air Operations Command and Control Base in northern Israel, allegedly damaging radar infrastructure used for surveillance and air defense coordination. The Marin base is widely considered a critical monitoring site responsible for tracking aerial activity in northern Israel and the surrounding region. Hezbollah said the drone strike caused damage to one of the base's radar systems. Israeli officials, however, have not confirmed the damage and say the country's defense systems successfully intercepted many of the incoming threats. As the missiles and drones approached Israeli territory, air raid sirens were triggered across multiple northern districts. The Israeli military confirmed that several projectiles have been fired toward the country from Lebanon and possibly from Iranian-aligned forces operating elsewhere. Some of the missiles were detected heading toward the Golan Heights, Haifa Bay, and other parts of northern Israel. In response, Israel's air defense network, including the Iron Dome and other interception systems, was activated to counter the incoming threats. The Israeli military's Home Front Command issued alerts across northern Israel while defense systems worked to intercept rockets and missiles approaching the region. Footage circulating on social media appeared to show interception attempts lighting up the night sky above Israeli cities. As the attacks unfolded, dramatic scenes played out across Israel. Bright flashes and explosions were seen over the skies of Tel Aviv as air defense systems attempted to shoot down incoming projectiles. Some videos showed streaks of light crossing the sky before interception blasts illuminated the darkness. According to Hezbollah, the strikes were carried out in coordination with Iran. Iran's Revolutionary Guards claimed the attack was part of a coordinated missile operation carried out jointly with Hezbollah against targets across Israel. This claim underscores the growing role of Iran in the escalating confrontation between Israel and Hezbollah. Analysts say such coordination reflects the broader alignment between Tehran and regional armed groups that oppose Israel. While many incoming projectiles were intercepted by Israeli defenses, some managed to penetrate the system. Israeli authorities said one rocket struck a residential home near the northern town of Carmel. Emergency services reported that the strike caused minor injuries to 2 people. The incident heightened fears among residents in northern Israel, where communities near the Lebanese border have long been vulnerable to cross-border attacks. Officials confirmed that dozens of rockets had been fired toward northern Israel during the assault. Israel responded swiftly to the attacks. The Israel Defense Forces announced that it had begun a large wave of retaliatory strikes targeting Hezbollah infrastructure in Lebanon. The military said the operation involved widespread airstrikes on sites believed to be linked to Hezbollah's missile launch systems and command networks. The Israel Defense Forces said it launched a large wave of retaliatory strikes targeting Hezbollah infrastructure in Lebanon. Israeli officials said the strikes were intended to prevent further rocket launches and degrade Hezbollah's military capabilities. According to the Israeli military, the operation targeted multiple locations used by Hezbollah fighters and missile units. The Israeli military reported that it had located and destroyed dozens of rocket launchers that had been prepared to fire additional missiles toward Israeli territory. Israeli officials also said several Hezbollah operatives were killed while preparing further attacks. Israeli forces say they located and dismantled dozens of launchers that had been prepared to fire additional rockets toward Israeli territory. The Israeli military described the operation as part of its broader effort to defend Israeli civilians and neutralize threats along the northern border. One of the most dramatic aspects of Israel's response was the targeting of Beirut's southern suburbs, an area widely regarded as a Hezbollah stronghold. Israeli aircraft launched rapid strikes on the Dahai district of southern Beirut. According to the Israeli military, at least 10 targets were hit in the area within roughly half an hour. The targets reportedly included intelligence headquarters, command centers, and facilities associated with Hezbollah's elite Radwan unit. These strikes marked one of the most intense bombardments of Beirut since the conflict began escalating again. The attacks also raised concerns about civilian casualties because the Dahai district is densely populated. The Israeli Air Force expanded its campaign beyond Beirut. Israeli fighter jets carried out strikes on more than 20 additional targets across Lebanon, according to military officials. These targets included storage facilities for weapons, launch sites for rockets, and operational headquarters linked to Hezbollah. The Israeli military said intelligence gathered from ground units had guided many of these strikes. Israeli Air Force jets, guided by intelligence from ground troops, struck more than 20 additional targets across Lebanon. Israeli officials said the strikes were intended to cripple Hezbollah's ability to continue launching attacks. The escalation between Israel and Hezbollah is unfolding within the wider context of a regional conflict that has increasingly drawn in Iran and its allies. Over recent weeks, Israel and Iran have exchanged missile attacks and military strikes across multiple fronts, with Hezbollah joining the confrontation in support of Tehran. Iranian-aligned groups across the region have also threatened to join the fighting. Military analysts warn that the conflict could expand further if additional actors become involved. The humanitarian impact of the conflict is already severe. Airstrikes across Lebanon have reportedly killed many people and displaced large numbers of residents as fighting spreads. Entire neighborhoods have been evacuated after Israeli authorities issued warnings ahead of planned strikes. At the same time, communities in northern Israel have been forced into shelters as rocket fire continues. Israeli leaders have issued increasingly strong warnings to the Lebanese government. Israel's defense minister warned that Israel would expand its operations if Hezbollah's attacks continue. Israel's defense minister announced that the Israeli military has been ordered to increase its operations in Lebanon. The statement signaled the possibility of further escalation, including potential ground operations. Hezbollah, founded in 1982 with support from Iran's Revolutionary Guards, has long been one of Israel's most formidable regional adversaries. The group maintains thousands of fighters and a large arsenal of rockets capable of striking deep into Israeli territory. Over the years, Hezbollah has developed sophisticated missile and drone capabilities, which have played a central role in the current conflict. Analysts believe Hezbollah's involvement significantly increases the risk of a wider regional war. Israel has already repositioned troops along the northern border and signaled that further operations could be launched if rocket attacks continue. The redeployment of Israeli units near the Lebanese frontier suggests that military planners are preparing for the possibility of a prolonged confrontation. Meanwhile, Hezbollah fighters remain active in southern Lebanon, where clashes with Israeli forces have been reported as missiles streak across the skies of Israel and airstrikes hit targets across Lebanon. The Middle East once again finds itself at a dangerous crossroads. The confrontation between Israel and Hezbollah has moved beyond isolated skirmishes and now resembles a full-scale military confrontation. What began as cross-border attacks has rapidly evolved into a broader regional conflict involving multiple countries and armed groups. For now, the situation remains volatile and unpredictable. The next steps taken by Israel, Hezbollah, and their allies could determine whether the conflict stabilizes or expands into an even larger war that reshapes the geopolitical landscape of the Middle East.